are watching Where Are They Now with your host, Dianne Hart. Now here's Dianne.
Good evening. Welcome to Detroit Hot TV. Where Are They Now? I'm your host, Dianne Hart, and I have the privilege of interviewing Mr. W.T. Williams, privilege of Temptation Group. Not only does he lead, sings background, and he's one of the baddest drummers we have ever heard. So good evening, and how are you tonight?
I'm well, Dianne. How are you this evening?
I'm blessed and happy to be here. I just want to thank you for allowing me to interview you.
Absolutely, not a problem.
Let's get started. Where are you from?
Detroit.
East side, west side?
I'm originally from the east side, but I've been all over the city, really. East, west, south end. I've been pretty much all over the city over the years. Now I live in the suburbs of Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah.
What school did you attend?
I attended a school called Denby High School. From there, my education went into academia. I have a couple of degrees.
Oh, well, can you tell me a little bit about them?
When I graduated high school, I joined the Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. And in the Marine Corps, I had the privilege of being stationed at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. So while there, I went to the University of Hawaii and I obtained a MBA in business. And I also have a bachelor's degree in sociology.
Brilliant man. How old were you when you got started into the music industry?
Oh, boy. Well, let's see. My mother would say I was 5 or 6 beating on pots and pans. Mm-hmm. But my first recollection of having my very first drum set, I was about 8 years old. And my grandmother instantaneously put me in church. You're going to play, you're going to play in church. And so, that was a part of it. But oddly enough, there was a group of us that are around the same age. And we were big Temptations, Four Tops, the singing groups type fans. And we would put the record player out on the porch and stand there and pretend that we were them and the Beatles and everybody else from that time. So one particular Christmas, we all got together and asked for a musical instrument. Oddly enough, we all got our instruments that same year. I got a set of drums. One of my best friends, James, lived across the street. He got a bass guitar. His next door neighbor, they got microphones because they want to be singers. A couple of doors down was a Stanley, and he got a guitar. And, we didn't really have a keyboard player, but we had 3 or 4 guitars, so we didn't need one.
How old do you think you all were at that time?
8 or 9.
So you've been playing ever since then?
Yes, and now I'm
Okay. Who were some of your biggest influences? You named some people, but who was one of you all biggest influences in this industry?
You mean when I was coming up?
Right, when you all started playing, who did you want to be like? It
was people like, obviously Stevie Wonder, mm-hmm. The Temptations, Four Tops. I mean, all of the Motown people, folks like James Brown and folks like even the Beatles. I mean, they had inspirational type things because they were writing things that you could dance to. And that was our thing. We wanted to be able to have some dance music, and then our parents who were deep into the blues, that was an aspect of it. I mean, it was a vast array of musicianship that we indulged in.
That's good. Do you write your own music?
I do.
Do you write for others?
I do. I mean, I write a lot of stuff because I do radio and television commercials, and I do the narrations, and I write the music. And when I'm not on the road, that's what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to take a break, and we're going to listen to Be a Man About It. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about that song.
Sometimes as men, we forget the simplicity of what it takes to understand the realms of our relationship. Sometimes you just need to be able to apologize. Last night we had an argument, and I know it feels like I'm insensitive, but I gotta keep it real about the way that I feel. Trying to get through, girl, I need you to listen. I don't want to trip, but I'm not a mind reader. No, I'm not a mind reader, but I'm so sorry.
I can say I'm sorry.
Be a man,
about
no doubt
about it.
If you just
talk to me,
if you just
talk to me,
if you just
talk to me.
baby, we can fix it. Whatever you need me to do, I'm willing to do for you.
If you just
Communicate to me what you want. I'll be right there, willing to help. Anything and everything you're wanting to say.
wanna trip, but I'm not a mind reader.
No, I'm not a mind reader, but I'm so sorry.
I can say I'm sorry,
Be a man,
ain't about it,
no doubt.
not about it.
If you just,
Talk to me,
if you just,
talk to me,
if you just,
talk to me.
oh baby, we can fix it. It's not intentional,
It's not intentional, I
never meant to hurt you, baby. 'Cause I apologize for the tears in your eyes. And be all apart. Yeah.
say I'm sorry.
Say I'm sorry.
Fix it, baby.
We gonna, so I'm gonna be a man.
About it.
Whoa. Say I'm sorry.
Fix it, baby.
Then we'll,
Talk about it.
I'm gonna be a man.
About it.
Yeah.
Say I'm sorry.
Say I'm sorry, baby.
Talk about it.
I'm gonna be a man.
About it.
And I'm gonna,
Say I'm sorry.
so we can,
Fix it, baby.
then we can.
Talk about it.
Oh, baby, 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 baby. Thank you. Yeah, move them panties to the side. We got it.
Welcome back to Where Are They Now? I am your host, Dianne Hart, and I have the awesome pleasure of interviewing Mr. W.T. Williams. Tell me a little bit about what inspired that song, Be a Man About It.
I was explaining to a young man that was having some turmoil. He's not really related, but I call him my nephew. I've been around him since he was very young. And he's about 23 now, 24 years old. I mean, he's been a pretty responsible young man. He's been with the same young lady since high school. But it got to a point where she wanted to explore their avenues. I'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at that age, and I was explaining to him, said, you really can't expect her to be, on a one-way street with this thing because she's only 22 or 23 years old and she has a lot of living to do still. And he was saying that, he had gotten so very, very angry and some of the words that were coming out. And then he was feeling very remorseful for the things that he had said, and obviously made her cry. And it was just a really dark time in his, in his life journey. And I was explaining to him that if you are choosing to go forward with this relationship, then this is the part where you are going to have to be a man about it. So the first lyric is, last night we had an argument and I know it feels like I'm insensitive, but I gotta keep it real about the way that I feel. I'm trying to get through, girl, I need you to listen. So that's kind of where that came from.
So that's what inspired Be a Man About It. I know you collaborate with others. Can you name a few other groups that you have played with or other individuals you collaborate with?
Oh boy. Well, let's see. I've collaborated with Lisa Stansberry. I've collaborated with Anita Baker. I've collaborated with a lot of the local Detroit musicians. My very first record with a young lady was with a young lady named Mickey Braden. She does Broadway now and all of that kind of thing. Robert Penn, the blues guitarist. It's quite a few.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So you have some new music coming out soon?
Yes, I'm I'm affiliated with the record label, actually from the United Kingdom, right before COVID, which is a whole nother story. That's when they closed the borders on us, because we were supposed to leave on March 16th to go to the UK to do a 17-city tour. They closed the borders on the 14th. So we went back in the studio, updated all the music, put some new things in there. There'll be 10 sides. I'm pretty sure some things in there you might enjoy.
Wow. You've been touring the last few months or this past year. You've been touring a lot.
I've been touring since I was 16.
Most folks didn't really tour when COVID hit. Were you able to continue touring during COVID?
No. COVID absolutely decimated the industry. Okay. I mean, it picked it apart to the point where it was really hard to even fathom whether or not it was going to come back in full swing. Part of that being that, first and foremost, people were afraid to be in groups together like that.
True.
So, and then the promoters didn't want to spend the money to promote concerts simply because of the fact that they weren't going to get a return on the investment, which, I mean, you can't really blame them for that. The musicianship changed, because during the COVID period, a lot of people went to things like YouTube and Facebook, and that was really the only way you could get a performance out.
Right.
The problem with that is that people started to get used to it. And then the other side of that stick is you really can't charge for that. It came back in baby steps, and I mean baby steps. They first said, okay, we're going to have a couple of shows, and it was like, nobody's coming.
How did they turn out? Did lots of people come?
No. Even the venues had a situation where you could only sit every third seat. And then everybody had on masks, including us. It was just a mess.
Well, that's over. And when did you really get back in the full swing of touring? What year?
Because that was end of 21 going into 22 is when it started to kind of get a little breathing room there. End of 22 is when we kind of got back into being on the road a couple times a month, which was minimal. But when you haven't been working at all, that's maximal.
Well, we're going to take a break to listen to My Heart to Yours.
Sometimes in our lives we need to just sit back and enjoy the ones we love. And keep in mind that it's the little things that mean so very much. From my heart to yours, I'd like to say the way that you love is special, babe. 'Cause no matter what comes, you're there for me. And thanks is not enough to express my love. In our hectic lives, we get so busy getting things done, we forget to say. So I'll take out this time just to say that the love that you've shown is like none that I've known. From my heart to yours, I like like to say, love that you've shown is special, babe. So come on in here, let me love you, babe. 'Cause the love that you've shown is like none that I've known. My heart to yours, my heart to yours, my heart to yours. Thanks is not enough to express my love. It's just not enough, baby. The love that you shown is like none that I've known. My heart to yours, from my heart to yours, my heart to yours.
Welcome back. Where are they now? Interviewing Mr. W.T. Williams. Now let's talk about My Heart to Yours.
Oh boy. My heart to yours. I like to say the way that your love is special, baby. 'Cause no matter what comes, you're there for me. Anyway,
What inspired that song?
my first wife passed away
Oh, I'm sorry.
some years back, and I had never written a song about what it took and the kind of relationship we had. I was trying to encapsulate and compartmentalize that feeling that I was having about the relationship that she and I had. It was very, very special. She made me be a better me. I'll put it that way. She grew me up real fast. Because I met her when I first came home from the military, and I was maybe just a tinge wild, just a tinge. She came from a family of 7 girls, and their mother raised them to be wives and mothers. Their mother was old school. She instilled in them the things that it took in order to sustain a relationship. We started dating when I first came home. I had been home I got home in March, and I think I met her in June. By the 1st of August, which was coming around to her birthday, she was like, okay, here's the deal. You want to keep doing this? You're going to have to commit to it. Other than that, I'm out of here. I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, we'll give it a shot. I was at her house, so she was at mine. I mean, we were together basically every day anyway. But there had never been a point where we said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to be exclusive, that kind of scenario. I got a real good life lesson. So,
That's a good thing.
yeah.
If you could give some advice to some up and coming artists, what would you tell these young folk? What would you say to them?
See, the thing about it is that the industry has changed so much with the onset of the technology. It used to be a situation where, you would perform as much as you could and, be everywhere that you could be and be in front of as many people as you could and try to get discovered and get a record deal and that whole nine. Well, that's obsolete. Doesn't happen like that anymore. We used to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars going to the studio and trying to make a recording. People doing that in the basement now. The thing is that, that I tend to impart on most young musicians that I meet is that, this is show business, but it is the business of show because, these record companies are absorbing these young people and their talent and just running them in the ground and burning them out. And they're still living in their mother's basements because the label gets a piece and the publishing